Now, Donna, that was sent to destroy my Uncle Caven, the firstborn child of Vernon and Jackie, my grandparents. Forced him to become Catholic again. Now, as Uncle Caven's wife, could Donna sell the body of Uncle Caven? Now, when you are abused, especially if you're on the spectrum like I am, I'm not ashamed of that. Look at my brain activity. You know, when you're not looking at the response pertaining to being tortured, the neurological response. Look at the brain activity. My brain activity. I'm on the spectrum. And when, hold on. Hold on. Okay, forgot what I was going to say. So I think I began with Donna forcing Uncle Caven to become Catholic again, and then, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. People on the spectrum process sexual assault differently, especially when we live in a society of Me Too. I'm raping and stealing everything you have. We're strong, right? Donna asked me about Caleb, what he did to my siblings. Keep in mind, my family's been under a microscope since my Uncle Caleb was born crippled. And I didn't tell Donna anything. I said no, and Donna tells me, oh, you all stick together. Donna gave many indications that she had access to defense tech. In reflection, at that point in time, I didn't know the signs to look for. So I question if Donna had the ability to sell my Uncle Caven's body after being sent to destroy him. And if Donna has the right to sell my Uncle Caven's body... Oh, someone's ringing a bell behind me. Hold on. Keep in mind, people are special interests. They've been harassing me stemming from the womb because of who I am. But if Donna has the right to sell my Uncle Caven's body because they were married, and then this religion thing included, like, I'm thinking interfaith fraud, Federal Tax ID 237098-123 may have created a loophole pertaining to being able to sell my Uncle Caven's body and claim that the genetics in the illegitimate children produced are legitimate. So, being the eldest grandchild of my grandparents, Rodolphe and Annie, Vernon and Jackie, and let's even go further back, Clement and Sylvania, my Secret Service FBI grandparents, Clement and Sylvania, Mr. and Mrs. Smooth. I invalidate any child who claimed my Uncle Caven's titles through his genetic material. Y'all are invalidated. So sorry. My name's Dustin Niles Migues, Royal Dustin Niles Migues. Dustin Niles Pelfrey Migues. Y'all don't have any titles. You're invalidated. You're illegitimate. Because my Uncle Caven was placed in circumstances that he normally wouldn't have been placed in, and forced to join a church that he didn't want to join, leading up to his death and your creation. And I am the firstborn legitimate heir in the Migues family, stemming from my grandpa and grandma, Clement and Sylvania. Y'all invalidated. So I'm curious, how much money, if this actually took place, how much money did Donna make? Because she told me my Uncle Caven wasn't the first big man she was with. So what? Do zoo nigger people go and target people like my Uncle Caven and sell off their bodies after they're dead? Force them to join interfaith fraud, probably legal loopholes pertaining to reproduction in reference to genetics. If that's the case, I am the head of the Migues family due to being the first federal legitimate birth, stemming from my stemming from my Secret Service grandfather Clement and my FBI grandmother Sylvania. Migues. Y'all invalidated. I'm a valid federal birth. So whatever kids were born, my Uncle Caven's not going to be treated the way he was. And then have his skin and bone marrow, have his genetic material of his body create illegitimate people who are going to claim right to my family's money and titles. Y'all are invalidated. You're illegitimate. So, with that being stated, how many people in Louisiana has Michelle Obama, Duke Zuniger, Clarence Thomas, the Robinson family? How many people in Louisiana have had Donnas sent into their lives to claim their skin and make some money from that, to claim their bodies after they're dead? And how is this legal? A child, the firstborn child, let me see how many generations. Okay, there's my grandpa Clement, Secret Service, my grandma Sylvania, FBI. Then we have my grandpa Rodolphe, which then is Secret Service and FBI, and my grandma Annie, which is royal and presidential. And oh yeah, my grandpa Rodolphe, presidential, and my grandpa Clement, presidential, George Washington, and royal, England and Spain. And then we have my grandpa Vernon, which is royal, presidential, Secret Service, FBI, Napoleon Bonaparte. And then my grandma Jackie, who is the entire working and family class of Louisiana, the intelligence community. And there might even be higher end on my grandma Jackie's side I just don't know about yet. So from my grandpa Clement, we'll say Clement, Rodolphe, Vernon, and then Caven. So from Clement in Sylvania, Caven is the fourth generation. Fourth generation. Actually, that would be the third generation. Yeah, my Uncle Caven was a third generation after Clement and Sylvania. How in the hell can Michelle Obama black people who were born in the CIA birthing center to destroy the family of Bernard George Migues be sent to people like my Uncle Caven and be paid for my Uncle Caven's body and genetics? How can they sell the body and genetics of my Uncle Caven? And how can the people born in CIA birthing centers to destroy the family of Bernard George Migues, our grandpa, how can they be allowed to do this? And then President Donald Trump appearing on my Facebook. He didn't say this directly, but my MetaPrince Facebook brought me to the conclusion that the only way the Migues family is going to be federal again with access to defense tech is if special interests marry into our family, destroy us, and produce children that we won't know, like my grandmothers and grandfathers before, and then take our dead bodies and produce a bunch of kids unauthorized. From my understanding, Donald Trump asserted that, who's really Michelle Obama Robinson family, but that's alleged because this may be social media, and I don't know if the now President Donald Trump, who's really allegedly Michelle Obama's family, black people, I don't know if that's actually what Trump stated. So I don't want to assert that without saying that also. I'm at Washington Circle. I just passed the Spanish Embassy, so take a walk with me. Here's Washington Circle. My grandpa, from my understanding, General President George Washington is my grandfather 6 times through my family tree. General President George Washington is my grandfather 6 times through my family tree. Here is George Washington University Hospital that marked me with a Jew scar. I was at 51st and 5th with drug dealer Sean Hemian, Mormon, and I got in a jetted tub, like jet ski hostel. I got in a jetted tub, and then a staph infection set in on my leg. Think of my teeth making a popping sound when I talk. I'm saying things people don't want me to say. So a staph infection set in on my leg after getting in a jetted tub at 51st and 5th in New York. Came back to DC, went to George Washington University Hospital, and George Washington University Hospital put a Jew scar on me. So here's Washington Circle. Here's George Washington is my grandpa 6 times. I'm being tortured, just to let everybody know that. But my grandpa Bernard George Migues, Brown, Royal Spain and England, and related to George Washington. So my grandpa Bernard George Migues was the inspiration, we'll say, that caused the racism that formed the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oh, here's a Dwight D. Eisenhower. Huh. The Spaniard Embassy must include these properties too, because the Michelle Obama... The Michelle Obama clap your big black ass, Dwight D. Eisenhower, you're a black man now, Jehovah's Witness. The wheelchair ramp goes into these townhouses. Nice. Oh, this is gorgeous. What type of symbolism do we have here? Oh, I've seen this. Hello. This symbolism with the software utilized for my eyes and my little niece's eyes. My blonde little niece that looks like Queen Elizabeth. My little niece that looks like Queen Elizabeth. I seen a photograph of her, and her eyes looked exactly like this, and she looked like Queen Elizabeth. My little niece. And this is the Spaniard Embassy. Yo Solo, Han Solo Blue Harvest, Star Wars, my grandpa's, Darth Vader, in the kindest possible way pertaining to what happened to my grandpa. And then here's the Spaniard Embassy, right near Washington Circle. And here's my grandpa Bernard George Migues' statue that really says Yo Solo. So Clarence Thomas, because Bernard George Migues being mixed race, royal and presidential, was enough to spark the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints creation, which led to the genetics economy based on separation of the races, which my grandpa Clement, Bernard George Migues' grandkid, he died in 1940. And then Dwight D. Eisenhower, Harry S. Truman, if he's a real president, right? I don't know who Harry S. Truman is. Harry S. Truman, a wood frame, right? I don't know. Michelle Obama handing Trump a wood frame when he took office. Harry S. Truman being a fake president, right? Under this theory, I don't know, I haven't been briefed, but did Michelle Obama hand President Donald Trump a frame to say he's a fake president like Harry S. Truman? And Harry S. Truman was a fake president due to Freemason activity pertaining to the racism regarding my grandma Annie getting pregnant with my grandpa Vernon. Is that what happened? I don't know, I haven't been briefed. But the racism that created the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints due to my grandpa Bernard George Migues being born, that racism led to the economy, the new Secret Service, separation of the races. My grandpa's MPI, Vernon, being 439-501-025. So 1 year before the death of my grandpa Vernon, for the theft of our genetics, and then 39, 1 year before the death of my grandpa Clement, my grandpa Vernon's grandpa, and then 501-025 for his father. His father's name reorganized within numbers, within codes. So the letters of my grandpa Rodolphe, his name was turned into code. Like Jeff Code, who took my pictures, threw me in a bathtub angry when I was in DC. I still ask, who's Jeff Code's family? Who's Jeff Code's family? I don't know. But Jeff Code took a lot of pictures of white boys in DC, and the way that black woman looked at those little white kids playing instruments in front of Macy's in DC and said they play beautifully, like she wanted to rip their skin off right there to create black kids, made me feel really uneasy. I don't know who Jeff Code's family is and where all those pictures went of the cute little white boys from Federal Families Jeff Code took pictures of. But yeah, so my grandpa Bernard George Migues was the catalyst that led to the economy, the Secret Service economy for separation of the races, which my grandpa Vernon was reminded of that when he was drafted into the DOD in 58. And the separations of the races economy, the new Secret Service, after removing my grandma Beckman's hand for theft and Lord knows the rape and what was done to her by Freemasons who didn't quote unquote have Harry S. Truman in the office yet, so that's treason, even if their marriage was invalidated, but still treason. Who done the bills? What role did my grandma Beckman play outside of marriage pertaining to being involved with Secret Service? If you target Secret Service family, is that why Michelle Obama said, if you come for my daughters, I'll send the Secret Service after you? Because that entitlement is based on theft of my family titles and authority? Interesting legal argument there, because I'm a Louisiana judge sanctioned birth after the implementation of the common man, etc., etc. First one. So my grandpa, Clement, not the money anymore. Separation of the genetics economy. And then after that, recycled genetics economy, Homeland Security, 2002. And then Secret Service moved over in 2003 because it is a recycled genetics economy now. So the separation of the races economy, under the same logic that separated my family from defense tech and our roles as the money people and the FBI, the Bonapartes, that could be applied to the new economy under Donald Trump's, which is really Michelle Obama family logic, that, well, we did the separation of the genetics economy, and now that that's done, we're doing the recycled genetics economy. So everybody that's not Homeland Security can be removed from their positions based on pre-existing actions that were taken pertaining to my family in particular. Keep in mind that DoD pay structures like a guillotine and some land security surrounded the Pentagon to choke it to death. You're choking your chicken? No, but seriously, that's concerning. So now we're in the recycled genetics economy, and I still don't have access to defense tech, and I'm Bonaparte, I'm FBI, I'm Secret Service, I'm presidential family that was not born into the treason surrounding the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which formed the CIA and Air Force eventually. That doesn't make me not a Secret Service family member. That does not make me not a FBI family member. That does not make me not a presidential grandchild. Because now we're in the recycled genetics economy. What happened to the people, let's say the white folks, highly filtered? CIA? Now we're in the recycled genetics economy, and you have to recycle into black. Oh, you don't have a job anymore. We're in this new economy. I guess my point is, how are we going to preserve the richness of American heritage, culture, and families if every time there's a power grab, families are no longer have access to defense tech, and they're hunted down by special interest groups and destroyed? Like Louisiana families who have people like Donna sent in that most likely sold my Uncle Caven's body, and through interfaith fraud illegitimately assigned my Uncle Caven's titles to illegitimate children created. So if that's normalized, and then now we're in the recycled genetics economy, and your defense access, you're Donald Trump to Michelle Obama, you're fired, then someone can be sent in like the Donna, my Uncle Caven, or the Donna Whitman Walker with me, who ended medication and started in conjunction with a person by the name of Demerit, a false mental health file on me, AIDS, you're dead, you're done. Send someone in, and the families for the new economy, for the recycled genetics under Homeland, Secret Service, etc. Marry you, sell your body, and steal your titles and your federal entitlement and your money and your titles to create illegitimate kids. Yeah. So, because if this is allowed to happen with Louisiana, and this is happening in Europe and South America, no, like Queen of the Ratchet says, sop you up like a biscuit. Once all that DNA and authorities sopped up to grow, you've been a grew. We grew you. Right? Once that's all destroyed, turned into black people, who do you think the black people are going to look at next with their recycled DNA, forcing black genetics into families, ending culture, ending tradition, down to the beat of their own music, or they have no rhythm? Oh, we're doing you a kindness. You had no rhythm, and now you're Dwight D. Eisenhower. You stood up from that wheelchair, and now you have a big black ass to clap. Like that video in Puerto Rico, April 8th, 2021, when that girl was she was dancing, arms back and forth. Samuel Trim, my grandpa. Mary, my grandma Verette's side, my grandma Jacqueline Verrette Migues. She was just a dancing. So the kindness is, people with no rhythm, you'll be able to stand up and dance like that black girl. Your grandchildren, because you'll be gone. Alright, I have no money, and I have no food, and I will not suck Clarence Thomas's cock and take charity from his family. So I will look like the Rodolphe targets pertaining to the defense industry and the aerospace industry in reference to my family blood, before I take charity and food from people who owe me billions and are torturing me. So, okay, I guess I won't make this a very long video. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude. Hello, how are you? Hi, nice dog. They're referring to the actual dog, I guess. I don't know which one. Hi. Alright, so yeah, oh, please go ahead. Come on, babe. I guess I should end with, if you enjoy my videos, donate to my Sylvania Beckman Migues Fund. If you can't, through a gag order, some type of legal loophole, or you can't afford to, don't worry about it. And by it, I mean, like, the concept of sharing with another federal family member. But also, more importantly, reflect on your own socialization. Because socialization, people are very comfortable with. Sometimes it comes back to be my grandma Beckman's hand that rocks the cradle of you not having a job or being federal anymore. You know how my grandma Beckman had her hand removed, and now Michelle Obama, when she gets mad, puts her hair up in the bun. She Jewish, right? No, she was born to end the Jewish people, the Spaniard people, and the Catholics, etc. That's their mission. Bernard George Migues's birth, because he's a mixed royal presidential Bernard George Migues dog. So just think about your socialization and things that are normalized within your everyday social interaction, to the point of being cult inflicted, because sound, movement, action really digs deep, if you will, into the subconscious pertaining to normalized behavior and activity. With that being stated, I'm at the apple line again. Let me see what my eyes look like now. Are they back to their normal color? Hmm. We're at the apple line. I guess black DNA hasn't been forced into Dustin Niles Migues yet. I haven't been... I'm not dead, and my genetics provided to black people to... Oh, there they go gray again. My genetics provided to black people to be Migues and Vernon, Pelfrey, and Willems, which they are not. They forced their black way in. And they're going to falsely claim to be me and my family to end Bernard George Migues forever. That's their purpose. Alright, I'm almost at DuPont Circle. I'm at 20th, at the Admiral. And I'm thinking of the movie Queen of the Damned, where the queen kills the king. So the queen, the black girl, born to falsely represent me, and me being the king, just kills me at birth. Cursed to never wake up, right? Maleficent, mistress, something, I don't know. Here's 20th. Here's the Admiral. Queen of the Damned, Admiral Isle, 20th. This looks like an FBI building. This looks like FBI architecture. Now, once again, I'm a Bonaparte. I'm a Bonaparte. I'm FBI. I'm Secret Service. I'm presidential family. And my presidential lines go back to General President George Washington 6 times from my knowledge. And Lord knows who else. And I'm a legitimate heir of England and Spain. And I'm a federal birth. Now, being a federal birth, I don't know how that would, yeah, so, hold on, Queen of the Damned, telling vampire secrets, right? Telling vampire secrets, and you see that angry black person in the crowd in the crowd staring at Lestat angry. Yeah. DuPont Circle. This. Oh, hi. I didn't mean to scare you. Hi, I'm Dustin. Didn't mean to enter your space. How are you? I have no money, but if I would, I would. Take care, though. I'm Dustin. Cheers. But we're right by DuPont Circle, where all those dead gay federal family members became black people. So... yeah, DuPont Circle. So, when it comes to being royal and federal and legitimate, according to a Louisiana judge pertaining to my parents' marriage, in reference to the common man leading up to what took place with my grandma Beckman, leading to my birth. There's a black person on the bike. So, pertaining to being federal. Oh, here's the fence. Hold on. Here's the tile I wanted to get a better picture of. Okay. It's night. I don't know if it's the same tile. I don't know if that's the same tile, if a tile has changed. It doesn't look the same. But I may be mistaken. I'd have to see. I don't have night vision. I don't have subcam tech. I can't see at night. My eyes closed. I don't have that access. But when it comes to... and I was going to turn this damn thing off, but... okay. So after Queen of the Damned and the angry black people, with the reference to DuPont Circle and this very area here, staring at Lestat on stage. And the black woman comes for Lestat, drains the world dry, because the black woman killed the king, which was me, and took my title. So I'd love to know who this black woman is. All that to the side, and for the moment, although I'm the eldest grandchild, my first cousin Joshua, the redhead, you know how Clarence Thomas's family, Michelle Obama, Donald Trump, the Robinsons, etc., are obsessed with redhead families, members of mine, for some reason. Just obsessed. We're in DuPont Circle now. My first cousin Joshua is a redhead, and he's my Uncle Caven's firstborn son. When it comes to being royal and order of succession pertaining to Spain, England, etc., because there's no royal family in Germany anymore because anti-Semitism due to my grandma Beckman, due to my grandpa Bernard George Migues, ended the royal Spain, the royal family in Germany, 1918. But I don't know if by order of how the order of succession would be pertaining to my first cousin Joshua and I. I'm the eldest, but he's the firstborn son of my Uncle Caven. With that being stated, if black people force their way into the English royal family, like my birth certificate being held for, what was it, 12 days? 12 or 18 days. I need to look at it again. My birth certificate was held for X amount of time, and then it was processed. When you force black genetics into the English family, are the children born first through forced black genetic inclusion, black rape, or are the children conceived by the king's, let's say, mistress, who he actually wants to have kids with? They're born after, right? So they're not legitimate, so the black people always have their first in line position because they cut the line with my family blood. This, let's say, Prince William, for example, someone's hitting some glass. I'm near the Doyle. People are angry. That's a passive-aggressive move. But let's take Prince William for a side. Let's take Prince William and utilize that example hypothetically. And let's apply that to my first cousin Joshua and I. I am the eldest and the first federal sanctioned birth, but he is the firstborn son of my Uncle Caven, which is the firstborn of my Grandpa Vernon and my Grandma Jackie. When it comes to European royalty, who would have the crown by right? Would it be me? Would it be my daddy? Or would it be Joshua, the firstborn son of my Uncle Caven, who's dead? After Adana was sent in to collect his genetics, to sell it, to make some money, make illegitimate children. Who would be the next in line for the crowns in Europe? That's a fascinating question because from my knowledge, although Joshua is the firstborn son of my Uncle Caven, and my daddy is the second born son of my uh, grandpa Vernon and my grandma Jackie. And then I'm the first federal legitimate birth in the Migues family, stemming from the birth of my grandpa Bernard and my grandma Beckman, pertaining to actions taken after the formation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm the first federal legitimate birth and the eldest grandchild of Vernon and Jackie. So when it comes to Europe, who would have the crowns? Who would be first? We all would have crowns. We all are royal. But I guess the question is, who would be first in line? Pertaining to federal sanctioned birth in relation to, let's say, King Charles III having his head chopped off, most likely by Clarence Thomas's family, Donald Trump, Michelle Obama, Robinsons, etc., Marie Antoinette style, Queen Latifah Bistro style, leaving Prince William and Prince Harry in very, very vulnerable positions, such as what took place with my Uncle Caven, which eventually might be their fate, because a Camilla, like the black people who claim to be Camille, claim to be Charles Camille Migues, the Joseph Bernard Migues' son, Charles Camille Migues. Is Camilla really black? Went to Europe to take out Prince Charles III, Prince William and Prince Harry, put some black in it forcefully, and through my family authority titles and rank, I have to tell y'all, I'm the first legitimate federal birth, stemming from what took place with my grandma, FBI grandmother Bonaparte Sylvania, before Harry S. Truman. The idea of the wood frame of Harry S. Truman. Once again, think of Michelle Obama handing President Donald Trump a frame. Symbolically, this represents in reference to the presidency of Harry S. Truman. I'm the first federal legitimate birth, being FBI family, Secret Service family, and presidential family. So whatever claim Camillas feel they have, I'm legitimate. And Prince William has my full support, because King Charles III, my grandpa, and y'all are illegitimate in my eyes, the whole family. I don't say this because I want to be king. I say this because I have loyalty to family. King Charles III should not have been targeted by a Camilla. He should have been left alone and had his kids be allowed to continue the English royal family. But who am I? I mean, I'm just Sylvania Beckman Migues Bonaparte's FBI grandkid, royal. I'm emperor, motherfucker, right? And Clement Rollin Migues' grandkid. Who am I? I don't know. I'm a first federal legitimate birth, stemming from actions taken against Clement and Sylvania, in reference to the money, in reference to marriage. Judge said my parents could get married, and they got married when my mama was pregnant with me. I'm the first legitimate federal heir. That's FBI, Bonaparte, royal. Secret Service and presidential grandkid. So the whole Camilla family, in my eyes, y'all are illegitimate. Prince William is King of England. Actually, not CIA replacement, but King Charles III's son, Prince William. Not CIA replacement, but King Charles III's son, William, is the King of England, according to me. But once again, who am I? Which brings me to my family's appropriate place in line pertaining to crowns in Europe and what's my place in line in Spain in particular for the crown. Interesting. So if Prince William still exists and he hasn't been CIA replaced, Prince William, you have my full support as a legitimate King of England. Alright, so this is the hookah place where black folks like to sit and let you know that you're on the menu. This is their pagan symbolism. They smoke hookah. I think, yeah, there's a strip bar there. Now, oh, hi. Oh, awesome. Didn't even see someone standing there. I don't have access to defense tech. But, yeah, it's a strip bar, and it was illegal to smoke in DC years ago, and people are like, what about hookah bars? Well, we'll put that on the menu, so hookah bars still got to smoke inside, because it's on the menu. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me, and as I'm being tortured by people in positions of power that how'd you get that power? And then, okay, from my grandpa Clement's Secret Service money to separation of the races Secret Service money to recycling DNA Secret Service money. If we're now in the recycled DNA Secret Service money era, and people still have jobs with the US government that originated from the separated genetics Secret Service money economy, why in the hell they still got jobs but I don't have a federal job? I don't have access to my dividends. If y'all support me not having access, hope y'all enjoy that. I'm being facetious. I don't mean this. I don't want any harm to come to families, but a little tongue-in-cheek if you'll allow me. I hope you all enjoy that new recycled genetics economy. Just think of how aggressively Clarence Thomas's family took out the family of Bernard George Migues and then went to Europe with my family blood. And then went to Europe with my family blood and did what they did there. So, oh, here's Loft, and there's a gate there. Let me fix my hat. Hold on. This one time at band camp, a black drug dealer, when I was underage in the U.S. Navy home, raped me, put his big black dick in my ass, and a group of drug dealers circled my bed I slept in as a kid and masturbated. This one time at band camp. Recycled DNA, baby. New economy from the separation of the races economy. So separation of the races economy, drug dealers. Will drug dealers still be necessary in the recycled DNA economy? I think they may be. Versus the separation of the races economy, Secret Service. I don't know how all this works. 101 Connecticut and some green marble on the floor. Okay. Whatever that means. Squares with shapes and triangles. Oh goodness. Okay. The two Georges. Let's take a look here. Huh. Two Georges. Nice. Okay. I'm not two Georges. General President, including Bernard George Migues Spaniard, the St. Bernard dog. Once again, think of your socialization, labeling, and how labeling Bernard George Migues and his family a dog is socially acceptable, and how that grew into social interaction pertaining to those with defense tech access and those who don't. Just think of Twilight and Al saying as soon as he put the dog out, being Jacob, Jack Frost. My grandpa Vernon, that's what he was named. That's how he was labeled, as Jack Frost. My grandma Jack. Yeah, his wife's Jackie. Okay. I guess that should do. This is a Starbucks that it's a triangle. A black person showed me baked goods from the oven. Showed me baked goods from the oven when I asked to use the restroom. And then we have Placemaker 15 over there, and Keany, Produce and Gourmet. Oh, okay, nice. 301-772-3333. Now I was asking where Trader Joe's is getting their pineapples, because my home's been invaded with fruit flies. And then the Department of State used to allow businesses like Susan Gage Catering, which I worked for, to receive Department of State ID to work catering events to allow small businesses in DC to work for the State Department and bring money home for their families. But if we're going to say DC's historically black and taking over all the businesses is just fine because this is DC that was established after the Civil War, so yeah, it's black, right? If local businesses can't apply for Department of State ID to work catering events, it all has to be Department of State employees. But DC's black, that's the politician argument, justifying ending gay businesses and any other business that's not some, including my genetics. So I reached out to the Department of State several times pertaining to certification to even work Department of State events, and reminiscent of not being able to check identification at the gate of Hickam for Pentagon Force Protection Agency as part of their police force. I can't even get Department of State ID to work like catering events. I think this evening what I'll do is, if the website still has access to, I will apply for a job with Department of State, because now you have to apply as an employee. And I'm thinking, because you have to apply as an employee of the Department of State, oh Lord, I'm being surrounded. Black people are walking around. Let me know. Let me know who they are. Let me know who I am. I'm coming up to Placemaker. I think the guy just made a triangle with his physical movement. Who knows? Nice hand. Nice movement. He's cupping it, right? Wind, air, earth, wind, and fire. I don't know. What was that? The Craft? Nancy. Crazy, right? Straight jacket. Had disease spread into her. Wonder who that could have been. Or the person in the trailer. They got money, right? Nancy's mother got money. Who's Nancy's mother? Not gonna go here either, because I'm having a few ideas now. Yeah, I'm gonna apply for a job with the Department of State, because from what I'm interpreting, local businesses have to be Department of State employees. They can't get a pass to work Department of State events, thus squeezing out more local business, demanding that it's all some. So I'd love to know how DC black representation, because I'm mixed. I'm not black, although I was mental health at 1818 New York said I was black. Thought you said you were black. I'm not black, I'm mixed. When black representation in DC says, oh yeah, well DC's a black city, I'd love to have them explain the Department of State example and expand upon that. No gays, it's our interfaith religion. Okay, expand upon that pertaining to my Uncle Caven, etc. Louisiana people targeted. I'm listening. My ears are ringing right now, and there's heat coming from the grates next to the Placemaker, like there was heat coming from the water at the Georgetown waterfront. Yeah. Hawaii likes to put hot water tanks on the lawn when they're protesting someone's presence. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. I don't know. So I'm walking back to Michelle Obama's castle, at the beginning of Phosphorus Northeast. Not the train tracks, because the Jews go on the train tracks to be holocausted. That's their purpose. But the other side of the street from the burned down Jew prison, Nuker, walk-in microwave, I guess, I don't know. And the lead school labeled boy and girl. And a closet labeled loner closet. The gays, I don't know. Harry Potter, right? And call it an evening. Yeah, but I think I'm gonna apply for a job with the Department of State, because I can't just get clearance to work events through another company. And we'll see if there's a website error, because people still like to quote their website, the website rolling right, when justifying this bigotry or that bigotry. But wait, I thought the separation of the races economy was over. Now we're doing the recycled DNA economy. So now it's the recycled DNA economy and interfaith fraud, which will allow for targeting, like AIDS, anyone people choose who are in current power. Got it. So as long as there's not like a website error or something like that, I know the black person somewhere. I'm just supposed to feel uneasy because I know they're there, right? With the way things currently are, it's scary for me, because I am who I am. And I'm being tortured because I know my proper place in England. I know my proper place in Spain and Europe. I know I'm entitled to royal trust. to make sure I'm not vulnerable financially, like I've purposefully been made vulnerable all my life. People come get that skin faster, right? Make some black babies. You have to die to be reborn black babies. I'm sure Donald Trump wants a trophy too because he really the black people. Donald Trump probably already took that through the DOD legally based on trafficking and sexual assault through trafficking reproduction, but if that's legitimate, that's very, very scary. Interesting, right? Alright, I'm jabbering on. I know I'm being tortured. I'm worth billions through the aerospace and the new economy of recycled DNA, not separated genetics. But those stocks are still there making money, right? I'm entitled to stocks. I'm entitled to defense dividends. And my place in Europe. And oh yeah, my grandpa Vernon, he could have been president. A monkey, a mixed race Joseph Bernard dog. My grandpa Vernon could have been president of the United States. Alright guys, good night. I'm being tortured. As long as America knows this, I'm being tortured. I'm being tortured.